Okay, everyone, I'm so sorry about that. Lucky James is back to keep this technology under control. Okay, that was just the most terrific. We have a lot of terrific sessions in this room, and Chris, people blow me away. He's a smart guy, isn't he? I was having trouble keeping up, but what a great tool. If I was a producer in that area, or an extension officer, or a consultant, I'd be so excited about that tool. It looks like it's very useful, Chris. So thank you so much. I feel like I need to run a Landcare Ag 3 or 4 day conference with all of these people so we can workshop and learn more. But as I said yesterday, all of these prezos will be put up on the Landcare Ag website, so you can have a look at them, and then we'll make sure that we can connect you with people like Chris that are very, very smart. So another smart person next. So our next speaker is Dr. Payel Sinha. I got that right, didn't I, Payel? Yes, great. So Payel is from the Southern Queensland landscapes. She will be highlighting the Natural Resource Recovery Program, which is a government-supported initiative, funded, that has improved ground cover and soil health across more than 66,000 hectares, big area. By combining science-based monitoring, landscape rehydration and the integration of First Nations knowledge, this program demonstrates how partnerships can create resilient, productive farming systems. Very important, the collaboration question, isn't it? This is what this is all about. So look, without further ado, Payel, please come to the stage. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Payel, and thank you so much for the introduction, Angela. It's great to be on here, and thank you so much, Landcare and Robobank, for sponsoring this session as well. Yep, thank you so much. More tech. I really want to start by saying that I'm a scientist by training, so it took a long time to actually make the presentation to a point where some of my project officers told me it looks good and makes sense, because before that, I had a lot of graphs in there and a lot of stats, a lot of science-based evidence to back it up. And then I showed it to them, and they were like, no, Payel, this is a bit boring. Not everyone is excited by looking at graphs and plan their whole life on an Excel sheet. So here we go. Very important to do to let you know that the project was funded by Queensland Government Natural Resource Recovery Program. And to give you an idea, this program has been a long-term program, and I am just going to show you the evidence of a bit more than 1 year of the program that we have looked into. Before I go into that, really want to acknowledge, we at SQL want to acknowledge, respect, and learn from the First Nations, people of the 28 nations in the Southern Queensland landscape area and further afield. We pay our respects of elders past, present, and future, for they hold memories, tradition, culture, science, knowledge, and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Islander peoples across the nation. I really want to thank them, because in this project we have worked very closely with some of them as well. And I'll give you more idea on that. To give you an idea of SQL and how far we go, that is Warwick, and somewhere here is Cunnamulla, Charleville, and Augathella as well. So we have a huge landscape to work around. To understand, we had to, for this project specifically, as you can see, the funding wasn't huge, and we had a lot of area to cover. We had to do a lot of background research, and there was a lot of really good data that went into understanding what was the bare ground cover in these 3 sections. So we had to make some priority areas in this area, and the major things that went around it was addressing the bare ground cover was the first and foremost thing, plus poor infiltration, gully risk. Some of these areas also had legacy bores, so we worked with a lot of farmers who also were working in an area where the bores were already there. So we really worked with them. Very important to note that this project would not at all be successful without the partnerships that we had. We worked with 36 land managers, And with a lot of partnerships with AgForce, Drought Hub, and 6 First Nations group that we've really engaged with, who gave and shared their knowledge with us to make this project happening in a way where we did incorporate culture, science, and moving forward in this resilience landscape space. This is the project interventions of the holistic approach, and love to see that in this conference we have talked about this a lot. What is the holistic approach? Because it's important to understand that this project funding and the next will end, but landholders who are living on the land or the custodians of our land, they will have to still be there, survive, because it's a business at the end of the day, and move across in that space. So we really worked into, I don't know if this is working. Okay, I'll just point. We really worked into the degraded landscapes. Of course, that's a huge problem, as we know, in these specific regions as well. And we partnered with our landholders. So we did not go in there telling them what the solution was. We really wanted to know, because they have been working in this land. They were already looking at solutions. And some of it did not really work on their land as well. So we had to come up with innovative ways of doing some of the works that they already started as well. So we partnered with landholders in this region, and the first and foremost thing we did was slow down the flow. The next thing that we looked into is increasing ground cover, and as Craig, and we have heard from so many people who came up here, talked about how important ground cover is. That is probably one of the main things that we are really working into as well. And then we looked into building resilience. So very, very much a holistic approach, as you can see. We are really looking into that ecosystem balancing, which cannot happen if we don't engage and invest in all these things. And they don't work alone. They all have to work together. So this is probably the main thing that made one of this project, and it is still continuing. We still have this project running for the 3rd time that we have received the funding to work with our landholders. So the major thing that made this project a very successful one was our engagement. So, and this is a protocol that we follow for all our projects. So starting with understanding what our landholders are wanting is probably our major thing. So we listen and learn. So we heard the multiple sections of what are the L's. I think there were 6 of them. We do incorporate 3 of the L's in our understanding of listening and learning with our landholders. We also incorporate a lot of the C's, that is collaboration, communication. We really talk to our landholders, understand what are things they did already on their land which did not work. And then we come back and do a lot of assessment. We do a lot of desktop assessment, and this is where a lot of the graphs that I was really looking into was involved. But then I was told I need to show photos of my team who are doing this incredible work, and I'm here just presenting the projects. Very important to also let you know, I have an incredible team who is working on this. We also worked with our First Nations people. As you can see, we sat down, so we also work with a lot of contractors in the area as well who are experts in erosion control, plus our cultural and knowledge broker as well. So we are really working in this area to work with, as you can see, Uncle John and Uncle Tom are also there. We really wanted to understand how we can incorporate the cultural knowledge in a way that the landholders will keep applying that into this project. We did heaps of events. We did, I'm trying to remember, 22 events, because I can't read, very, very much blind. So I think it is 22 events. We had 430 people come to these events. Again, another really good thing to say is in this area where we know engagement fatigue is a big thing because there's so much happening in this area, we had a huge participation. The reason that we had a huge participation because we did peer-to-peer learnings, and these participation was not just from one community, we had the whole community engaged. So not just landholders, we had First Nations people, we had researchers, scientists, AgForce, everyone did come across to understand what we are doing. Great work again by the team to get all of this happening on the land. And again, I am pretty sure a lot of us are in that engagement area as well. This number speaks heap, especially imagine the area that we are talking about. The population density is not as big as it is in the city. Very, very good to understand what context went behind it. So achieving the sustainable land management outcomes, I couldn't help myself, so I put some numbers there. But listen and look is our first strategy. We really listen to our landholders and what they want to do. Second, we do come back and do a lot of in-thorough desktop assessment. If we don't have an expertise in the house, we will pull our contractors and our regional people to give us that information. This is where we work with First Nations people to do the co-designing as well. We work with erosion control people who are experts in this area to help us work with the landholders. Then we do a lot of on-ground works. They are mostly rehydration works that we are doing. And probably the other part where a lot of these landholders who come on board to work with us is in that peer-to-peer learning. So we really bring them, show them the farms where people are doing amazing job, and these are landholders who are talking about their farm, what did work, what did not work, and really that motivates more landholder to work with us. So for us, that is a great way to get more expression of interest and landholders working with us. We do monitor and adapt. We have heap of monitoring data. So for this project especially, we did LCATs, so land condition assessment, but we also invest in VegCats, and now we are doing DNA, plus we are also doing acoustic monitoring. So we are really talking about that science-based approach where we do have the data to back our science. Huge achievement on the project. So we did improve land condition, and that has been measured by LCAT. So 66,000 hectares. We did improve practices. Again, we have definitely done a lot of area that is under sustainability, which is 165,000 hectares. Land managers implementing, so that probably is the main one as well. 36 land managers worked with us. We had 22 events, and then 430 people participated in that. And very important to also note that we had a huge landholder co-investment. Today we talked a lot about finances and how a project can work. This project really worked because, as you can see, our landholder did co-invest in their region. So it was, of course, government funded, but without our landholder contribution, this would not have worked at all. And First Nations people who so generously did give their knowledge to us, did work with us, did work with these private landholders who wanted to understand how we can incorporate that knowledge moving forward as well. One of the other things that we are really working on is to building the resilience in our land. So we are really working in understanding what is the knowledge from our First Nations that can be incorporated, especially when we are looking at the agriculture sector as well. And for this project, we worked with, as you can see, 6 big regions. We worked with the 6 First Nations here, and activities included like cool burning, knowledge sharing, and we developed a Kunja fire season calendar as well, which was great, and we have that as well. We also have some planned future initiatives where we really want to do with junior rangers and fire method programs as well. So there's a lot of work and collaboration that we are doing. Some of our on-ground works, as I talked about, starts mostly around erosion control and rehydration. Very important to also note is all the grazing management and plans that we have done is something that landholders invest. So we usually don't invest in that. They invest in understanding how they can work with that. So we would invest in, like, for example, fencing, but the other part of it, that is carrying the rotational grazing, how are they going to do that? If they're going to use apps, all of that is something a landholder invests on their own. And this is the exciting part. Again, I had a lot of graphs and numbers, but then I was like, pictures talk a million words. So here we are. So this is the Mitchell priority area. So I just selected 3 of the properties who have been working really well and for a long time with us as well. As I said, this is not just a year project that we are talking about. It's a long term. So if you can see, this is a section of the property that did not have, or like they could not really use that land productively at all for most of the time that they were on the property. And we did some earthworks there with them, of course, with the help of our contractors as well, who gave us a really good design, worked with our landholders. So it's a long-term process. Just to get to the design phase of our project, it takes a fair long time. So when we were all happy around that with our goal and objectives of what the landholder wanted and what our project could fund, we did work. And this is the response just after one rain. Also, it is very important to note is we did not do any seeding here. It was something that the land did come back after rain. And yes, we did some stock management there, which the landholder very happily did. But now the land has come back, and it's great. Like and I was told in this one we could not show videos, but we have videos of landholders who have talked about it, and it's great. And if you want to know more about it, it's on our website as well, so please go and have a look. This is another property. We have worked with them from 2020, the Warraw property in Warrego. And again, the topsoil was not there. I'm pretty sure the landholder at one point told us for last 60 years or more, they haven't actually had seen anything on that land. That land was completely bare, unproductive. As soon as it rained, it did the water did not retain, and it would just flow. That happened, and then we worked again with them around the erosion control spreader banks. We worked around a lot of it, and I'm just showing a part of their property. A lot of their property was there. I think they have 88,000 hectares of land, and out of that, some part of their property was absolutely not productive. And this is after rain. So previously, the land manager could access the property after rain because it ran off very quickly. This time, he actually has sent us photos. So I'm sure you guys have seen the flood event that happened in the area in April. So we have photos from in May that he has showed that he is in a helicopter and just showing the land and how it is still. He can't access that land. It was still underwater, so water was retained. And after that, it was coming back again. It's really good stories of how optimism and how to give quick wins. The other thing I forgot to mention, when we are working with landholders, we really focus on quick wins as well. Important to give them that motivation because again, the project will not be there. We might not also be there, but they have to carry on living on that land. So giving that knowledge, incorporating that knowledge, giving them the quick wins really help us in sustaining the project because in between two fundings, they still have to keep going in that space of sustainable agriculture and especially around when we are looking at resilience of our landscape or increasing resilience of our landscape. This is another area. This is not a before and after photo. I couldn't actually find the before photos on this one. So this is a Drysdale pond. All they had was 2 paddocks, so we helped in understanding it. They wanted to have more paddocks there, so we just spelled it out for 10 paddocks, and then they started doing rotational grazing. And they're still working with us. They actually have a lot of brigalow on their farm as well. So they are actually working with us on multiple different arenas on making their property more sustainable overall as well. This is a case study that I thought I'll just give you an idea when we are looking at, how am I doing with time? Okay. Okay. Try to do this fast. So this case study, just wanted to give you an idea. So as you can see, Ross came to us saying that he really wanted to use every drop of rainfall into growing plants. That's what was his objective. Very big objective, especially as you can remember the first photo that I showed you, there was hardly any ground cover, topsoil to actually work with. We worked with him from 2020 to 2025. Of course, we did a lot of intervention design. A lot of the plans did not actually work out as well, but some did. And after only, I think, 1 rainfall, some of his area that we did some earthworks with actually came back, and that kind of gave him the motivation to keep going, doing more. He invested much more on his property without us as well. He started doing rotational grazing as well. So that small little win really helped our landholder to keep going in that space. Now he's really doing adaptive grazing. He's spelling his properties more. Again, he has more land. He can have that area to have more stock on his land as well, to do the more productive, sustainable outcomes that he wanted to do. And that was it. This is my team. Without them, this would not be possible. And if you want to talk to anyone from our team, my CEO, Jillian, is in the crowd, and cultural broker Richard is also in the crowd. Uncle Kevin is also somewhere here. Yes, he is also here. So absolutely, please reach out to us. We are always happy to talk to you. We have multiple projects. As I said, NRRP is still running with us as well. If you know anyone who wants to work with us, we are always open to it. And yeah, that was it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Payel. That was a wonderful presentation. I wonder, do you work with Glenn Lansborough with some of that work?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, no, I noticed Glenn in one of the photos, and also I think it's Robin, isn't it, the ecologist from Charleville? Yes. Yeah, the Glencoe Ag program, we've done some really nice, it's great to see what you guys are doing. And those beautiful, I don't know if any of you have been that far out west, but those Mitchell grass plains, don't they just make your mouth water? They're beautiful. Okay, thank you. I'm sure there's questions. So if you want to put your hand up, I'm sure James will be able to bring you a microphone.
Thank you. The earthworks you talk about, they were largely contour banks, were they, or was there some other plan?
We did have mostly contour banks. We did also have a few other interventions. We are also looking at some nature-based solutions as well to work with our landholders, but in that landscape, most of the works that we did was on contour banks, spreader banks, actually, yeah.
Hi, I'm Celia from Tasmania with the Regen Ag Network down there. Your adaptive management, your adaptive grazing, what does that involve, please?
Mostly we do rotational grazing, so it depends on the landholder as well. I'm being very careful here. I don't want to put everyone in one pool. We do rotational grazing a lot. That is probably the main one that we are working on. Some landholders are actually now looking at different adaptive management styles, but I'm thinking of one example, but it hasn't been implemented yet, so I don't want to, cross on and say that it's going to happen.
Julia Mackay from Goulburn area, Goulburn Landcare. Just wanted to know whether there were any changes in the species. There didn't seem to be a lot of legumes. Did anybody do anything with legumes?
No, actually so one of the things we did talk about is how we can do multi-species, or that is an option. Again, the project on its own had a lot of boundaries on what we can fund and what we can't fund. Some landholders though, especially, I can't remember the name of the landholder. One of the landholders really wanted to do multi-species, including legumes, using the deep perennial. But none of the ones that we actually have case study on, they actually tried that. Again, that's what I said when I was talking about that some of the landholders actually did a lot. So they already had the seeds, but nothing was growing. Hence, we were like, let's not again, if there is seeds, if there's rain, it will come back. So in one of the properties, actually, a lot of the multi-species came back as well, so deep-rooted perennial. But it didn't work in the first instance. So again, the small win did not happen. But no, a lot of our landholders are actually looking at multi-species, including legumes. Working with agronomists is another thing that we do very much in our company as well. So we are really trying to involve them, especially if a landholder wants to look into that as well. Yeah, perennials is probably one of the most important thing when we are looking at keeping our ground cover on as well. Yeah, thank you for that question. That's really good. Yeah.
I'm Ilana from New Sri Lanka, so very different climate, but I'm very interested in your approach in terms of engagement with your landholders. You have a very thorough approach, very holistic approach, but were these landholders already engaged in other projects prior?
No. Some of them, yes, but not mostly. We actually started, especially that peer-to-peer learning group kind of brought in a lot of our landholders. We had Glenn as well, and we had a lot of, so this project is led by Chris Crafter. She lives in the area as well, and she was another person who actually helped us in bringing in, but no, not everyone worked with us. So it was probably that holistic approach of peer-to-peer learning where they went and saw what was happening in their neighbor's farm really helped in that section and area as well. Also building knowledge. I think a lot of them really just wanted to know what they can do. The only thing I can think of is in a world where we are really talking about conservation, science a lot, and all around it, please do understand that we have 50% of land under where landholders are taking care of that land. So we really need to also work with them. The First Nations is another really big group that we need to work with and see how we can have that sustainable agriculture, because food security is another big part that we need to really be thinking about when we are talking about all-around conservation. They have been doing it forever, so listen and look probably is what our agenda is.
Can I just add one more thing on it? What was the biggest barrier for your landholders to be involved?
With this project specifically, probably a lot of the things that they have done, like multi-species, like on silos, they tried to implement different things on their property, and it didn't give them that win. So quite disheartening, especially when you are really relying on your land for your, for everything. So when we first came in, probably that was the big one, that what new thing are you doing? We have done X, Y, Z already, and it didn't work. So bringing that intervention of like good management practices and bringing in the experts really helped us with this project. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Payel. They're very lucky out there to have you, and it's just lovely to see someone that loves her Excel spreadsheets and data so much is also very human and empathetic. And I can see, Costa's waving. What does Costa? Oh, watch out. He's going to come and attack, I think. So it's about time for Smoko nearly, but before that, it looks like Costa's about to inflict us with something Costa-like. So... Thanks, Costa. Okay, everyone, it is time for Smoko now, and I'm very aware, though, Chris, the gentleman in the back corner wanted to ask you a question, so please do so. And if everyone wants to go and have some Smoko and then come back, or go to whichever room's relevant, it's hard to work it out, isn't it? But thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, James. Sorry to hand the microphone over to you.